This edition of MacVoices is brought to you by Atlassian. Atlassian makes software that helps you and your team get more done, faster, and better. Jira helps you manage the tasks that make up your project. Confluence helps your team work on those projects without spinning their wheels or overlapping their efforts. HipChat keeps your team in touch with each other by audio and video chat, no matter where they are, no matter what device they choose to communicate on. Bitbucket helps the team collaborate on the code that makes up your project so that you get to the finish line faster and easier. Your team needs these products to be competitive and stay competitive in an increasingly competitive market. At WWDC this year, I was surprised to find out just how often the subject of project and team management came up, and how often at least one of Atlassian's products were mentioned. Visit Atlassian.com right now to download free demos, try out the apps for yourself, and find out what Atlassian can do for you. That's Atlassian.com to learn more about Jira, Confluence, HipChat, Bitbucket, and all the Atlassian apps. The software that helps you and your team team up to create what's next. Thanks to Atlassian for their support of MacVoices. MacVoices is in San Francisco for WWDC and the AltConf. I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, this is Jaimee Newberry of WWDCGirls. She's going to tell you what that means and what they're doing here. Jaimee, it's great to have you.
It's great to be here. Thank you for taking a minute to talk to me.
So a couple years ago, at one benefit or another, I got a WWDCGirls t-shirt. And I wear it and people look at me a little strangely at times. What is WWDCGirls?
It's basically a group of women who try to get together with other women who are attending the conference, or those who identify as women. We try to create a safe space for women in a bit of a world that is very male dominant.
So is this an event, a group? I mean, obviously it relates to WWDC, but do you do things outside of the conference, or is it just a time to get together and socialize and solve some problems?
You know, we use the event WWDC as sort of our bring us together point. We try to do a couple events, a luncheon, and usually it's a happy hour. Where we do a fundraiser for AltConf for Girls, and everything is centered around the WWDC conference. So we use that as a reason to get together and do these events.
Now, my audience is going to be very familiar with AltConf for Girls. Jean McDonald is a great friend. Yeah, she's a terrific lady. What kind of trends have you been seeing this year? I don't want you to reveal any secrets from the gathering, but do you see any particular trends this year over another, or just an overall trend moving forward?
You know, my focus tends to be all about the people over the technology. So my focus has been really about our events and bringing folks together for WWDC Girls. So all of my energy has been there. So I can't really speak very much to what's going on inside the building across the street.
Oh, no, I didn't mean that. I meant I was referring to actually I attended the luncheon, but I didn't attend the luncheon because I was at Jillian's, sitting where I could hear everything, not eavesdropping, just I was having lunch. So it sounded like there was a lot of enthusiasm going on there.
You know, every year over year, it grows. The event grows, the support for it grows, and it's quite exciting to see where, you know, it started as a few of us getting together, a few women getting together. It was like, oh, you're a woman, let's have lunch together. And, you know, the next year it was like a brown bag lunch on the lawn outside Yerba Buena. And then, you know, like now we're over 250 people coming together. And so it's cool to kind of see. I mean, that is some really positive movement and some signs of growth and support in the community. And again, more interest. So I think it's great.
Here at AltConf, standing here watching people come and go, my perception is that there are a lot more women than I've seen at previous conferences. You know, not that it's been steadily increasing. This year seemed to be, for a very unscientific observation, quite a quantum leap.
Yeah, it feels like it. I mean, it feels different, you know, in a positive way. It feels, it feels like numbers are becoming more apparent, which is good. And, you know, I know as our little organization grows, like we're actually, we're going to change the name next year, which is an important sort of indicator of growth for us. Or we're going from WWDC Girls to Women at WWDC, and I think it's just indicative of the growth that's happening and the change and the evolution. We got to keep growing and moving, and it's time.
So where do we know where we are, we know where we're going. Where do we want to end up with this?
Humans at WWDC. Ideally. Yeah, I mean, ideally, there's not a binary that we have to subscribe to. We're people interacting with people, and we can look at each other with equality, and we're here about something that we get excited about. We're here about the technology and the knowledge to be gained together as individuals, and that's what we want to be about. But we do want to make sure there's a safe space where people can go and they feel like I can be a part of this and feel comfortable and kind of, dip their toe in the water without just diving right into the pool and feeling a little overwhelmed, which it can be.
This safe space is a great word, and yet it's a word I wish we didn't have to use, because some of the stories that we hear about things that happen to women in tech, women in general, but women in tech for this audience, and it's just almost unbelievable to some of us that anyone would conduct themselves that way.
I agree. And it is an unfortunate thing that we have to create spaces. But, I think by starting small and being proactive, we start small, and at least we're doing something, and you can see growth, you can see movement. I think challenges may always exist. I don't know. In my lifetime, I have great aspirations for these efforts, but I'm happy to see so much support around this sort of thing. I think, yeah.
Given the change in the name that's coming next year, will there be anything that goes along with it? And again, what I mean by that is the ability to stay in touch with other women in between WWDCs, or is it just going to be kind of an event where you create that safe space for discussion of issues important to women in tech?
I think right now, it will stay focused around the events of WWDC, hence the name. But I think that a lot of the people involved, we do get together. I do get together with Jean at AltConf for Girls, and to support those efforts outside of WWDC. And that's really the beauty of this thing. Without this event, I wouldn't know Jean. I met Jean at one of these luncheons. And so, that's the beauty of it. We have the opportunity to meet other people from all over the world doing similar things, and we can combine efforts and support each other outside this event. And I think that's a really beautiful part of it. And I do expect to see more of that. Even though nothing specifically is planned, I know more will happen.
So this is what you're doing here this week, or at least part of what you're doing here this week. What do you do the other 51 weeks of the year?
I'm a mom, which is I'm an independent mom of 2 little girls, and I'm also the Chief Operations Officer at a company called Martian Craft.
What does Martian Craft do? I'm not familiar with it.
That's okay. Martian Craft is an iOS, Mac, and Android development and training shop.
Oh, really? So when does that trade show happen?
It's not a trade show. It's it's shop. So we're a consultancy, basically, and training for those things. So, yeah,
So you build apps?
We build apps, and we train people who build apps.
Oh, that's impressive. In-person training, online training?
In-person training is where we're at right now, but we do plan to grow to online training and courses over the next couple of years.
So if I need an app built, you can either do it for me or you can train me how to do it.
Absolutely, both.
Where are you located?
And we're 100% distributed, so we are a remote company. We have people over the United States. We have a couple in Germany and England, and in the UK as well. So
21st century company.
Yeah, it's really cool to see how that can work, and it does work.
Okay, we want to let people know where they can go to find you and find out about WWDC Girls, or now soon to be Women at WWDC. Websites, mailing lists, what kind of presences do you have?
We do have a website, and Twitter are our 2 primary access points, I would say. So on Twitter right now, it's at WWDCGirls. And same thing for the web, www.dcgirls.com. And with the name change, we'll be forwarding. We'll make sure all of the information to get to the new name and the new address are at those locations. So.
And how about you with the business? And also, we can maybe have you build apps for people.
Yeah, so Martian Craft, we're on Twitter. You can find us at Martian Craft or martiancraft.com. And I'm Jaimee, and the spelling is always a little tricky. It's Jaimee twice. So Jaimee on Twitter.
Great. Thank you so much for the time. Really appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Folks, we'll have more from the Alt Conference and WWDC in San Francisco. I'm Chuck Joyner. This is MacVoices. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes, links to subscribe, and to connect with Chuck on Twitter, Google+, Facebook, YouTube, Vimeo, SoundCloud, the MacVoices blog, the MacVoices Dispatch, our weekly newsletter, and on MacVoices Magazine, free on Flipboard that helps you do more with your Apple tech. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.